Let's see some prize cards straight away. The Ace Spec for Emma. Oh, the Sparkling Crystal. The deck plays a lot of one-off cards, so all the time you're having to glance over, but obviously when you see one of the cards being pink, that's a big issue.
Yeah, and hold on, just before we kick off here, is there something going on?
I think we're just waiting for confirmation to get this final up and running. There it is, the handshake, and we are off.
We are off in our Birmingham Regional Finals here. Emma will be going first. That's going to be feeling good for her, of course. So this is Flareon deck really wants to go first. It's not a deck that we've really seen on stream at all. Like, Emma's not dodged the whole stream until this finals. But, I mean, there's so much to talk about with this Flareon archetype.
And first things first, we have an Ultra Ball, and normally that's a route towards Fan Rotom, and that's going to be one of the key early engine pieces for this archetype, allowing you to search for up to 3 of any combination of colorless Pokemon with 100 hit points or less. That's not only going to be the likes of her Eevee that's currently in the active position, but also a route towards a Pidgey and a combination of Hoot Hoot and Noctowl. This deck is all about the Jewel Seeker. We have a lot of Terrestrial EX Pokemon, and Noctowl is the thing that really unleashes this deck.
Yeah, of course, with that Jewel Seeker ability, if you have a Terra Pokemon in play, able to search for any 2 trainer cards, and here's the thing with this Flareon deck, it's not as straightforward to describe strategy-wise, because normally with a deck like, for example, Dragapult, you describe it as, oh, you ice lock with Budew until you can do a big, meaningful Phantom Dive to blow out your opponent's board. But with something like for the Flareon deck in Emma's hands, it's kind of an adaptive deck. It's a deck that has a big toolbox of different attackers, and you pick the right attacker for the right matchup. And this is something that Emma has shown us time and time again when she's been on stream.
A very quick choice of Pidgey, Hoot Hoot, and a Noctowl stashed in the hand, attaching to the active and then passing action over to Ethan, who already has Budew and also a Buddy Poffin. So both our players in this final in the first game having a really good time of things, Freya, because we know what the Dragapult archetype's all about. We just saw it in that top 4 match. Working towards multiple evolution Pokemon is the key here. Yeah,
multiple evolution Pokemon, especially that Dracloak, of course, with its Recon Directive ability. This is really the engine that gets the Dragapult deck going, because that middle stage of between the Dreepy and the Dragapult has, you can once per turn look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one in your hand and the other one on the bottom, so you just filter through and find all the pieces you need, and you can do that turn after turn because you hide behind that Budew and keep announcing Itchy Pollen, which of course that devastating attack for no energy cost, 10 damage, stops your opponent from using items, so you have the time to build up those resources and then just blow out your opponent's board.
And on top of the Buddy Poffin, we have an Ultra Ball, getting rid of an Ino and a Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. I think one thing Ethan does have to be aware of is the threat of Wellspring Mask Ogerpon EX, so even getting a 3rd or 4th Dreepy down is going to be really handy at some points in this game. We're going to see an early Jamming Tower, then a fresh 6-card hand for Ethan, also crucially throwing one of those Noctowl to the bottom of Emma's deck.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you really want to keep in hand, of course. It would have been searched off the Fan Rotom, not going to have access to it guaranteed anymore. But Ethan here really needs to find a way to retreat this Pheasantipity to go into the Budew, but does find the Psychic Energy.
That's a big relief for Ethan, who can now unleash the Itchy Pollen Lock. How often have we stated this card can completely swing games, because immediately it's shutting off a lot of options for Emma, including Nest Ball, which would have been her only means towards getting a Terra Pokemon.
Yeah, no, not a great feeling. Does have a Crispin at the very least, so can use that to grab 2 basic energies of different types, attach one to one of her Pokemon, put one to the hand, and that's going to be very handy because the Fan Rotom, of course, is going to come in, and with the Stadium in play, the Assault Landing attack is live, or you can just attack with Eevee!
How about we get in the mix with Eevee? It has a Reckless Charge attack for 2 colorless energy, does 30 and 10 to itself. So rather than retreating, let's just get that in the mix early. 30, the perfect number to deal with Budew. And now action is over to Ethan. Emma, of course, feels relatively safe around this choice because it's only really Dusclops that could deal with this Eevee anyway. And there's no real difference between 30 hit points and 50 in that instance.
No, there really isn't, so it makes sense to go for that. And very smartly as well, Emma recognizing that one of the things that can make this deck falter is if you fall behind on energy attachment. Right. So using that Crispin and getting the same outcome whilst keeping more 1 energy on the board, really, really strong move here. Although, even it does have that counter catcher, is going to bring up that 2 retreat 80 HP Hoot Hoot.
It's a really poor hand for Ethan. The Flip the Script did not help out too much. We can Nest Ball out another Budew if we want to. The counter catcher is some relief, because it is going to bring up a 2 retreat cost Hoot Hoot here.
Yeah, and that's needed to buy some time, because I think the other problem is Ethan doesn't have a way into a Dracloak, but also doesn't have a way to retreat this Duskull into another Budew, I don't think, unless there's energy in hand.
I think I saw Night Stretcher. I think that might be one of the only ways we can do so. Once again, submitting your attachment for the turn, just to try and get some breathing room with item lock.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? One of the ways that Dragapult can falter is if your opponent can get out something... there is energy. So if your opponent can get out away quickly enough to just KO the Budews and just pick off prizes turn after turn, that's when things can start to get a little bit dicey. So that's why Ethan is playing the counter catcher to bring up the Hoot Hoot, and now it's going to be on Emma to find a way out of this kind of pseudo-retreat lock, but we do find ourselves a Flareon EX.
Looks like not this turn. Action is back over to Ethan. The Itchy Pollen has worked. The top deck, however, not so much. We can attach an energy and once again maintain this lock. The top deck not too helpful.
Yeah, Emma finds a Pidgeot EX, but of course with no access to rare candy, can't evolve that Pidgeot. Oh, Dracloak!
Dracloak in the mix. Finally, Ethan trying to scramble something together here. The Jamming Tower, an easy choice to put to the bottom of the deck, instantly into another Buddy Buddy Poffin. I think it's time for that third Dreepy.
Yeah, and this is, we were talking about, you know, how the matchup goes between the two decks. Budu does really put a lot of hurt on Flareon. Like you were saying, Joe, it's a deck that plays a lot of different, like one other, there's not just a Pokemon, also items and different things that help you to keep going. There's a lot of items in Emma's hand that if she could play them, this would be a very different game right now.
Absolutely the case. But as it is, another swing from this Budu. It's a paper thin. Oh, here comes the Noctowl off the top.
Huge find for Emma. She finds herself the Noctowl. That's going to be absolutely brilliant for her. Could even evolve the active Hoot to kind of reduce the retreat cost from 2 to 1. And yeah, that's exactly what she's going to do. There's a Flareon out. Flareon is a Terra Pokemon, so Jewel Seeker is live.
I think that means it's Hilda time. That's a supporter which can grab not only an evolution Pokemon, but also an energy card. And that's the crucial piece of the puzzle missing for her right now. I think that's going to be her best way of moving out of the active.
Yeah, I think so. And also it builds up one more energy onto the field. The more energy you get onto the board, the better you really feel as the Flareon player. And yeah, definitely eyeing up that Hilda there now. It'd be interesting to see what the other choice is.
Yeah, maybe just stashing a Noctowl in the hand for next turn, saying that there's going to be a point in which Ethan can't just keep announcing Itchy Pollen, especially after taking another knockout. Emma's going to start pulling far too far ahead in a race.
Yeah. Oh, and Emma just kind of showing it all at once. So, you know, Hilda for the Jet Energy, and rather, yeah, Jewel Seeker for the Night Stretcher and the Hilda for the Jet Energy and the Noctowl, just kind of putting it all together right there.
And in comes the Assault Landing from Fan Rotom. Emma now going to go up 2 prize cards. Ethan promotes immediately that Dracloak. Is it? Ooh, and a top deck of Dracloak as well.
Okay.
Lots of draw from this with the Flip the Script as well as a couple of Recon Directive. Ethan is starting to work towards that first Dragapult attack. Yeah,
and that could be pretty devastating here. There's not a lot of big HP things on Emma's board. There's a Hoot that's not looking too big right now. That Pidgey is very much slim pickings for a Phantom Dive. We know that Ethan has the attack ready to go. This could spell trouble.
I mean, that's exactly why Ethan is so quick to get into this Dragapult EX. You want to remove that Pidgey at all costs, because without Quick Search, you can disrupt Emma much more easily. And that 280 hit points is a nuisance to deal with, as we see Night Stretcher back for Fire Energy. In comes Counter Catcher as well. We're going to bring up the Flareon EX, try and get some damage into that Pokemon. Of course, if we can combine it, if the Lily can find us a Dusclops here,
that's going to be a KO.
We could be taking out the active Pokemon and dealing with Pidgey all in one turn.
Actually, no, wait, is that going to be enough? Because there's 280. Oh, it's got 270.
270.
Oh, I thought it was 280 for some reason. Oh, no, that's a perfect knockout.
Yep, this is going to be a big hand drawn then from Ethan, looking for that Dusclops. One of them is in the prize cards, as is one Ultra Ball, but still one to be found here. Don't forget, we still have Flip the Script, we still have Recon Directive. It doesn't have to be from this 8, but we need to find it somehow.
So, yes, 8 cards drawn. Oh, that's an Ultra Ball.
Straight away,
That'll do it.
As well as another Dracloak. This is an amazing setup for Ethan. That bit of time gain from those Itchy Pollens into the high retreat cost Hoot has been magical for him now.
Yeah, keeps finding that Jamming Tower off of the Recon Directive, it seems.
Get out of here.
We're going down.
You.
Don't need another one.
The crystal, you don't need that.
Absolutely. Does find another Duskull as well as, what was that other card that found that from there? It was the, an Iono. Yeah, definitely want to keep that. And you really want to keep that Iono chain going if you want to disrupt Ember from any chance of making a comeback play.
And is it going to be the Flip the Script now? No, it's going to be Ultra Ball first. And we can find a way of getting some fodder here. Looks like Lily's Determination. The time has passed for that card.
I mean, you're taking prize cards this turn, so you know that Lily's Determination is going to turn from a Shuffle Draw 8 to a Shuffle Draw 6, which, granted, is still very good, but I think Iono becomes more important the later the game goes on.
Wow, look at this. Even sacrificing a boss's orders with the discard, valuing other options instead.
And looking through the deck now. Wait, hold on a second. Okay, I was just about to say, one Dusclops prize, but of course, even playing the 2-2-1 line, so no issues there. Does find that Dusclops. Plays a Buddy Poffin for good measure just to get that last bench slot filled, and yep, another Duskull coming down. You want those Cursed Blasts to be able to be accessed whenever you need them most.
Yep, you just want to keep having access to this. You can easily blast through the only Terrastal EX Pokemon in play, deal with the Pidgey at the same time. This is looking excellent for Ethan in this first game.
Yeah, and not only that, but that last residual 10 damage that you don't need to finish off the Pidgey, that can go on either the Noctowl or the Hoot to put that in range too.
Flip the Script at the end. It could even get better for Ethan here. He gets to hold on to a monster.
Oh my god, wait, what? How many cards is that in
That's the beauty of Lily into Recon, flip the script. Here's the 200 damage from Phantom Dive. Let's finish off that Pidgey, and let's plonk 1 damage onto Fan Rotom as well. Ethan taking a massive 3-prize turn here and setting himself up possibly for game next turn.
So what does Emma find here? Looks like a boss's orders. Can finally now play a bunch of those items that were stuck in the hand for a while, but it's going to need to figure out something pretty big here to try and put together some kind of comeback.
Now, it may look pretty poor when there's no energy on any real useful attacker, but Emma does have some tricks in her deck. She does have Energy Switch, she does have Glass Trumpet. There could be a way towards getting something like a Blood Moon Ursaluna, maybe a Terrapagos into the equation. Also, if we can recover the Eevee, it does have boosted evolution. It could evolve into a stage 1 Pokemon. There's a lot of tricks up her sleeve here.
Yeah, there absolutely is. Emma not out of it by any means, just going to have to think very carefully about how she wants to piece this together. And this is the advantage that she has. She has been in these situations before. She's played this deck so much that even a kind of marginal, not as likely scenario as this to happen, she'll know the best way to play through it with the resources that she has access to. So she's going to think through this very meticulously, execute it in post-haste, because she's practiced this so much. She does these turns with like great speed, and if she finds the pieces to put it together and to make the comeback, she will. But it's all down to her.
And to be fair, if all else fails, we could just see like panic sob play into something like a
true, actually, yeah.
That's one of the things. The Wellspring Mask Ogopon, not only a great aggressive tool, can also in a pinch get you out of some spots and buy yourself some time.
The choice from the nest board does end up being the Pheasantipity EX. Emma not quite content with the resources in the hand, wants to find 3 more cards. So flip the script for 3 cards. What does she find here? Is that an Eevee, a Flareon, and an Ino? It looks like
the Ino. Not looking ideal, though.
No.
There is still access to, well, a Terra EX Pokemon and Noctowl, so we can still Dual Seek for a couple pieces here.
Yeah, so the Eevee's still a great find in that regard, and the Dual Seeker could find a replacement for that Jamming Tower, of course, being the Area 0 under depths, which will allow Emma to go wider onto the board. If there's a Terra Pokemon in play, you can have up to 8, and you see she's planning out the turn already.
Yeah, when you start to see those trainer cards come to the top, you know that Emma's going to be Dual Seeking, and straight away into Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. Opening up that board space as well, because I believe there's a Buddy Poffin in the hands.
Yeah, yes, there is.
Need to have some replacement Hoot at this stage.
Yeah, there it is. So she's ready to play it down now. We'll be able to get some more Hoot down. Are there any other like small guys that she can get down? Maybe, or just literally just 2 Hoot. Yeah, why not?
I mean, that's what you need to keep stringing together combos here. Is Emma just hoping that taking out Pheasantipity EX then sort of deactivates the Dust Noir and says that Blood Moon Ursaluna is big enough for a little while?
Yeah, I guess so, possibly. The Glass Trumpet is also already in hand, so that's going to do very nicely to get this Blood Moon Ursaluna start to be powered up and can, of course, bank an energy onto that Eevee EX for good measure. Just thinking about what energy types are best suited where, and I think thinking about what she wants to evolve into definitely makes sense with the fire and the water attachment there.
Yeah, keeping that lightning energy for maybe like a Night Stretcher play or something like that to still use with Flareon later. There's a manual attachment of fire to Blood Moon Ursaluna EX as well for the turn. And I'm pretty sure there's a boss's orders in the hand. You could also punch into the active and go for Ino, but it feels like you want to hold on your hand yourself, surely. No, it is going to be the Ino coming down from Emma here.
So Emma valuing putting even on a lower hand size more than a potential taking out Fez. I guess, to be fair, this is kind of the way to limit Ethan's hand the most, because if you just attack with this Blood Moon Ursaluna into this active Dragapult, there's going to be no flip the script activation.
Yeah, that's pretty much the best thing we can sculpt. Just say that the low hand size, it's kind of the lesser of 2 evils. When there's 2 Dracloak in play, Ethan's got a really robust board.
Yes.
Like, he's still got a decent way towards winning the game. But Emma's saying this is still one of her best options. Let's see if these 3 cards help her for future. Well, an Ultra Ball means she can hold on to potential Noctowl next turn. So that's about all you can ask for here.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, not only that, this is potentially setting up the game next turn with a Wellspring Mask Okapon play.
It is. It certainly is.
So this is what we go for.
Still has Energy Switch available and stuff like that.
So Blood Moon coming in for 240 damage. Oh, but even has the Night Stretcher. That's just going to be it, isn't it?
I'm fairly sure. See, well, Curse Blasting. There's still 3 prize cards to take for Ethan. The Fan Rotom's the single prize KO.
Yeah, so you just do this on the...
Do we have Counter Catcher available?
Oh no, on the active wouldn't be enough.
Counter Catcher shown. Ethan able to bring up the Pheasantipity EX, taking out that 2 prize Pokemon and finishing off the Fan Rotom that was damaged a little bit earlier on. Great scenes there, not even needing those Dracloak.
No, I mean, just had it, and this is the thing when you just pilot this deck and you filter through the resources already. I know it can sometimes be impactful, but sometimes it just ends up not being enough, and that's how we saw it bear out at the end of that game 1.
And this was an exceptional opening couple of turns for Ethan, thanks to literally this play right here. Bring up the 2 retreat cost Hoot Hoots and just go for it. Panic Itchy Pollen, because the hand wasn't cooperating. Flip the Script did not help at all. It was multiple turns of this that really kept Ethan in this game.
Yeah, and this is what's tough about playing that 80 HP Hoot Hoot. Of course, it does bring its own advantages in terms of not being able to be bench typed as much, but with that 2 retreat cost, it sometimes comes to bite you in the form of, you know, just buying your opponent more turns for Itchy Pollen, and that's how we saw it play out there in game 1.
And every single countercatcher was so influential there. The first one trapped a Hoot Hoot. The second one brought up Flareon EX. The third one won the game.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of 3 countercatchers were all she wrote, and finishing things off with a Dusclops and a countercatcher just to take down the Pheasantipity. And as you said, with a residual Phantom Dive damage, 6 on the Rotom, 3 prizes for the game.
But we are far from done, Freya, because there's still an hour left on the clock, and Emma hopefully won't be prizing her ace spec again. I think that immediately changed pretty much everything that was in her range in that game number 1.
Yeah, she played around it really well to the best of her abilities, at least, given that.
I just got to go over to the
Oh, yeah, hold on, you're on the side, yep. But she played it to advantage as much as she could, given that she did load up her board with a good amount of energy to try and play around that to quite an effective way. Ooh, now, the price cards here...
Night Stretcher, not ideal. That's both copies of Night Stretcher for Emma. She does like to play with the discard pile quite a bit with some of her item cards, but she does seem to have gone first with a Buddy Buddy Poffin lead as well. Pretty ideal.
Not just a Buddy Puffin lead, a Fan Rotom lead for good measure as well. So this is about as perfect a setup as you could ask for her if you're Emma.
When you've got a game down, there's nothing better than seeing this coming out. The fan call already established and access to even more basics. That means you can flood the board with Pidgey in addition to Hoot Hoot and stash Noctowl for the next turn.
Yeah, just setting up with everything she needs. And she's already planning it all out. Like, this is something that Emma is really good at doing. We talked about how she's already planned out her turns of this deck so far in advance because she's played through this deck so many times. So she knows exactly what she's getting off Fan Rotom. She knows exactly what she's getting off the Buddy Buddy Puffin, and she's just lining it all up to do it all in one go.
Yep, so the Poffin will grab Pidgey and Hoot Hoot. Then Fancool can grab, I think, another Fan Rotom just for Ultra Ball fodder here, so that she can grab a Terra EX Pokemon before the Itchy Pollen lock.
Yeah, or maybe considering another Eevee to put down. There's a Fan Rotom Eevee. You need to grab one Noctowl at least for sure. A second Hoot Hoot would also be nice, so there's a little bit of a debate as to what to grab off this Fan Rotom here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you want to stash one Noctowl in this hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. It's going to be one Hoot Hoot, one Noctowl, and a Fan Rotom, which will be simple fodder for the Ultra Ball that's in her hand.
Yeah, and so with that, I imagine what she's thinking is, you know what, if I'm going to get an Eevee, something to evolve into my Eevee evolutions, why not make it the Eevee EX that has so much more HP?
Yep, and there it is. Eevee EX hits the board. This is one of the few EX Pokemon that can evolve into other EX Pokemon, thanks to its own ability.
Yeah, and we'll be, of course, using that to evolve into one of either Flareon EX and Leafeon EX, the 2 EV evolutions of choice, both with their own purposes and different matchups. Flareon really being the key attacker, though, of course, with that Burning Charge, does set up your other attackers and KO a lot of fire-weak stuff. But back over to Ethan's turn, who going second, because I mean, even with the going second advantage, you know, Emma would still rather go first herself. So Ethan with a good chance of a great start here, and already before even playing a supporter, does have a Buddy Buddy Puffin.
Yeah, both players have pretty much their optimal start in terms of what's active, but also have a Buddy Buddy Poffin apiece. Not sure if Ethan also has access to supporters. A second Poffin in the hand at the very least.
Goodness me.
Got to be pleased about that one again. Ethan has to be thinking about the threat of that Wellspring Mask Ogerpon EX. Even though Emma didn't search it out with the initial Ultra Ball, went for the EV instead, Ethan still has to be aware that at any point, multiple Dracloak could be dealt with. And crucially, Ethan doesn't play any rare candy in the list. Emma knows that because she's seen Ethan's list. So at any point, she can sort of catch him out with that Wellspring.
Yeah, she can plan around that very, very well. The only thing that's going to be a little bit of a problem here, of course, is that Emma really wants to get that Pidgeot set up turn 2. That's not going to happen when you're getting hit by Itchy Pollen. Now, does Ethan have an Ino to go with this Buddy, or is it just going to be...
I think we're just sat on multiple evolutions. I think there were Dracloak in the hand, so don't panic just yet. But nothing like Lily's determination for any new cards. Action over to Emma then, who is once again under item lock, but does have access to Noctowl and Hilda here.
Okay, so still will be able to put together a pretty strong turn. I mean, Hilda will, she's planning, again, just planning it all out in one go. So Hilda will be able to grab one energy card from the deck as well as an evolution, and we know the Noctowl's in hand, so that can go ahead and finally grab that sparkling crystal that was missing so crucially in game 1.
Very much a theme of Emma's plays, that she knows she has access to the entire deck, like whenever she wants. Yeah. So she starts planning together what she wants to pull out with her Noctowl that's already in mind, and it looks like she's going to be going for Sparkling Crystal. Maybe the Hilda gets Jet Energy if she wants to protect the energy on Fan Rotom. Possibly just the physical Fire Energy in this case. She has so many avenues via those Noctowl as we see the manual attachment come down.
Yeah, Fire Energy Flareon. Fire Energy Flareon is a choice from Hilda, and then Jewel Seeker come in to grab another Hilda and the Sparkling Crystal. Okay, kind of want to maybe do a Hilda chain here.
Yeah, it feels like a really important supporter to hold on to when you are going to be continually item blocked. Emma's basically saying, well, I know there's not a Dragapult coming, so the best thing that can happen is that Ethan goes for another Itchy Pollen, so just prepare your hand for that.
Yeah, and also preparing her Flareon for a bigger attack, recognizing there's nothing great on the bench to attach to. So with this Burning Charge, I'm just going to load up an extra Lightning Energy onto this Flareon EX, and now I can go for that. The devastating second attack does 280 damage. With a Black Belt's training, could reach for a one-hit knockout on a Dragapult EX.
Yeah, one of the crucial supporter cards she opts to play in her deck is that Black Belt's training, so that can allow the Flareon EX to deal with a Dragapult EX in one hit. Again, Ethan knows this because has been able to look at Emma's list, so we'll be aware of the threat of the Flareon, and Ethan is able to evolve up into multiple stage 1s and then has the determination, so we'll see a fresh 8 cards here.
Yeah, definitely going to be scared of that Carnelian. Granted, right now, not something that Emma wants to use, given that you really want to be using that when you're KOing a Dragapult, because if you don't, then you can't attack next turn. So definitely need to be mindful of that. And Ethan can still have a very, very strong turn here, regardless of all of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's potential for multiple Recon Directive, there's potential for Flip the Script if he wants to, there's all sorts that can come from these 8 cards. That's why this setup base deck can still be so reliable, because you just see so many cards from the supporter on the opening couple turns, and then really Dracloak takes the wheel for even more access to the deck.
And I think an ideal turn for Ethan here would be if you can find a way into a Budu, you use the Dusclops just to KO the Pidgey, kind of free retreat into the Budu and just go Itchy Pollen again.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we opted to promote Dusclops, basically saying, yep, I don't want to deal with this Pidgey. I want it out of here as quickly as possible. I know that much.
Yeah, and that is, of course, a disadvantage. We've talked about it this whole weekend, weighing up the 60 HP versus the 50 HP Pidgey. The 50 HP one can bail you out so much with a much better attack, but the fact that it gets KO'd by a Dusclops Curse Blast never feels good, and we do see it coming to hurt a little bit in this instance.
And Ethan is going to go through these Recon Directives before any decisions with the likes of the Nest Ball that was picked up, because he might still want to go into that Itchy Pollen option. Countercatcher currently live as well, thanks to the early prize card from Emma.
Yeah.
It could be once again looking to pick up that 80 hit point Hoot Hoot.
That was the one that she put down. Again, recognizing that it's more safe against the residual damage from Phantom Dive, but it does come with that disadvantage of being a very, very prime countercatcher target.
Night Stretcher Budu then, so perhaps Nest Ball could be for another... Well, the Duskull's already in hand, so that's all looking pretty solid. I feel like Pidgey has to go down here.
I mean, you did mention the Pheasantipity option, right? So, I mean, maybe Nest Ball was being saved for that, and that because once you do the Curse Blast, you'll have more bench space. Countercatcher does come in, and yep, we called it going for that.
Deja vu, Freya.
Going for that little Insomnia Hoot again.
The upside of the 10 additional hit points means you play around Holucha. The downside is it's a real pain when it's countercatchered up.
Yeah. Ultra Ball coming in as well, going to discard Latias, kind of recognizing that other bench slots are more important right now, and that Emma won't really be able to punish the lack of free retreat most of the time. So I think the time for Latias has kind of passed, and now it's free Dracloak onto the field. Goodness gracious. Yep,
this is a way that Ethan can protect around also that Wellspring Mask Ogopon, let's not forget. So getting all 3 means that even if Emma was to construct a Gusting play, bringing one of the Dracloak into the active and dealing with both of them in one go, Ethan would still have a bounce back of potential Neo Upper Energy Dragapult, so pretty much everything he could ask for here.
Third Recon Directive coming in, just topping up the resources of this hand even more. Finds, Fire Energy for next turn, that's great.
I know as well. Ooh. Well, there's already one in the hand, so you can just freely take the fire here.
Yeah, and that will set you up very nicely for your Phantom Dive on your next turn. So, again, it's about as good a turn as Ethan could have asked for given the circumstances. And, you could even just commit the Fire Energy now, spread your bets a little bit.
Spread your energies around, absolutely. Seems to be the best option. I also like the option of Jamming Tower here. Even though the Flareon can still attack with Burning Charge or stopping any shenanigans with Carnelian for future turns. Yeah.
So now we come in, Curse Blast, actually gonna target the Flareon. Actually, this makes a lot of sense. We talked about how there's no Pidgeotto in, well, not specifically, but you need Rare Candy to go into Pidgeot because there is no Pidgeotto in Emma's deck, and even knows this because of open deck lists. So instead, just gonna target the Flareon, knowing that because of Itchy Pollen, there'll be no Pidgeot this turn.
Well, it's intriguing because the 5 isn't a number that helps too much. Like, we're still no real closer to dealing with the Flareon unless we were thinking way longer down when we're thinking about Blood Moon or Saluna EX. That's the only time that math really helps out. But simply, Ethan had to move out of the active position, and Curse Blasting was the way to do it.
Yeah. And this is kind of where we see a kind of smart telegraph from Emma here, recognizing that this play could happen. That's why she banked the Hilda in her hand, because now Jet Energy comes in, and all of a sudden she's smooth sailing once again.
Flare on EX back into the action. And now we're going to see an energy coming onto a Noctowl as we take the knockout with Burning Charge once again. Emma not too afraid of that 5 damage counters. Like I said, it's a curious choice of damage because it doesn't really help Ethan too much.
Yeah, you could even put it on something like the Noctowl, right? Just so it could be residual Phantom Dive knocked out later. I'm sure there's something that Ethan's thinking of that we're missing here, but either way, it's back to his turn. He does still have free Dracloak on board, and now here comes the Pheasantipity EX.
Yeah, so much draw available to Ethan, and will crucially be using an Ino against Emma here, who's gone down to 3 prize cards pretty swiftly, thanks to the Curse Blast as well. And this is where it sort of becomes phase 2 of the game for Dragapult. Phase 1, it's about submitting the prizes as you build basically the board state that Ethan has. And now the game becomes, I'm going to be announcing the best attack in the game, Phantom Dive, whilst giving you basically no resources to play with.
Yeah, and we're speaking of like no resources to play with versus all the resources to play with. Ino getting played, 6 cards for Ethan, Emma only getting 3, and with no control over the hand of it, especially with no access to Pidgeot, this Ino is going to be very, very rough for Emma.
It looks like we were able to find Ultra Ball and a Dragapult. We have so much draw, so don't panic yet that we haven't found an energy, because we see so many ways to do so.
Recon Director number 1, there's a Dust Noir and is that a Chi-Yu?
It's a Moltres.
A Moltres, right,
yeah.
That makes so much more sense.
But we're going to hold off. Well, we could possibly play the Ultra Ball now, because there's not much else we need beyond Horlucha. I actually think Horluchaing and targeting the Hoot that still has 70 hit points remaining would be possibly more valuable than taking out the Pidgey here.
Yeah, possibly. I guess maybe the logic is that Ethan would much rather keep the deck in order so that you keep digging through the deck, knowing that there's a bunch of non-energies at the bottom.
That's true.
I also has found the Neo Upper here, and if Flip the Script finds a Dragapult too, he's got it all.
That's excellent, and I really feel like shutting down the option for Jewel Seeker is the real way to shut down this archetype. Luminous Energy, a great pickup, as you mentioned, Freya. And actually, it's a really good point to not play the Ultra Ball, because you know the order of your deck after the Ino.
So
I feel like Horlucha has to be great here. Oh, it's actually in the prize card, so that's not an option for Ethan. I've just spotted that. That means you have to take the Pidgey then.
Yeah, you just have to. And to be fair, take out the Pidgey, you do have one more damage left. You can then put that on the Hoot, then that's in range of a later Phantom Dive. So that works too.
And still Ultra Ball coming into the equation. If Emma can't find a way to exactly Black Belt's training, possibly Ethan has to start thinking about re-establishing a Duskull here if possible. Though I'm pretty sure both are in the discard pile. I think one was discarded earlier with a Bull Search.
Yeah, I see two purple cards there, 2 Psychics, but I do believe that's Dusclops and Dust Noir. So instead, the choice is going to be to go for that Blood Moon Ursaluna.
Just thinning it out, I think, because Emma still does have the option of her own Ino. I don't think there's too much fear in putting down the Blood Moon Ursaluna either, seeing as though Pheasantipity is already in play.
I guess it's another 2-prizer for Emma to Carmine, or Carnelian rather, but if you're using Carnelian on the Dragapult, you only need 1 more prize left after that anyway, so it's not really an extra liability in that sense.
Let's see if there's any more actions for Ethan. No, it's simply going to be the Phantom Dive here.
Hey.
Still 6 prize cards to take for Ethan, so it's going to be like a long game approach here. Do you give Emma credit for finding Candy Pidgeot? Well, we're putting 1 onto the Hoot. That was a free choice, because the 5 would finish off this Pidgey.
But this is the debate, right? Do you give her the credit to maybe finding that? Is it... It's 4 and 1.
Ethan getting very creative.
Is this to deny Flip the Script?
Yeah.
It must be, right?
That could be the case. As we do see a Nest Ball from Emma, she's going to grab her Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. Or is she just taking a look to see what's available? I didn't see any access to Ultra Ball. I didn't see access to Noctowl in the hand. So Ethan may have found a position where Emma can't Jewel Seek this turn. That means a couple crucial... Oh, there's Boss's Orders, so she can still take a single prize knockout. That means it's still a very relevant Burning Charge, and she's going to power up Blood Moon Ursaluna, trying to put herself in a position to finish off Pheasantipity EX for the game. Yeah,
this is really, really smart, just kind of preparing her prize map exactly the way that she knows it works best. Knowing that this player is going to go down, preparing a backup attacker, which is isolated her board, or like inoculated her board as best as she can for whatever Ethan can do, especially, I mean, this only works because Ethan has yet to take a prize card.
Ethan now, he does play 1 copy of Professor Turrisonari. We saw it so much on his route towards the final. Is he able to work towards it with Flip the Script and Recon Directive at this stage? Picking up that Pheasantipity EX would basically take away all of Emma's win conditions.
Yeah, at this point, there's no way, even with the damage modifiers that you play, that Blood Moon Ursaluna cannot get to 320 damage. Here comes Counter Catcher, so that's going to bring up the Hoot to the active, so that is going to be Jewel Seeker. Well, I mean, it was going to be Jewel Seeker turned off no matter what, but I think this is a way to kind of spread the damage to take even more prize cards in one turn, but does even have a way to pick up this Festivity EX.
Intriguing now, as Blood Moon Ursaluna might come into play.
But then you're stuffed no matter what, right? If Emma just finds a Gusting card.
Well, let's see the pickup from Dracloak. Well, Iono seems to be an easy choice. It's not quite as good a Professor Turo, so you might still flip the script first here to be as safe as possible.
Just to determine what the correct course of action is, right? Oh, is this Blood Moon Ursaluna coming down? Okay, so at this point you're committed to not touring. I guess it must be Iono then.
Well, possibly, because you could still flip the script and Turo up the Festivity, because the Blood Moon isn't in range of the other Blood Moon.
Oh, that is true, but then a damage modifier would do the trick, but then you can't Gust and do that at the same time, so yeah,
I think the Blood Moon was always safe, but it feels like Iono's still very solid here. Not even sure if the Professor Turo was within the deck at this stage. It may have been discarded earlier. Either way, Ethan's getting a really nice 6 cards. Emma just getting 2. She's going to be losing her Flareon, losing her Pidgey, and losing her Oni Hoot Hoot.
It's a pretty devastating turn no matter which way you look at it. Oh, there's a Turo scenario.
So it was in the deck, a little bit further away though. But there is a route for Emma to win here, even with a 4-prize turn here from Ethan.
Yeah, but it is just going to be, can she find a Gusting card to finish off this Festivity EX to take game 2 and bring us to a game 3? Here comes the Phantom Dive, softening up the Blood Moon Ursaluna, taking a 4-prize turn from Ethan's side. It all comes down to this top deck for Emma.
It's a very simple question, Emma. Do you have it? Here comes Blood Moon Ursaluna EX.
It's not in the hand.
Top
she
deck.
flips it. Oh, it's a Noctowl.
It's nothing. It's game. Ethan Wilde takes the winner, 2-0 victory, an invite secured, and look what it means to him.
Amy cheering her absolute heart out over there, and why wouldn't you? And such a great sportsmanship from Emma as well. A really true example of the game, both of them, to be honest. I was so happy to see both of these players in the finals, and what a finals they gave us.
What an absolute thriller. Ethan there, absolutely grinning from ear to ear. Chuffed with the first victory under his belt. Been knocking on the door for a number of seasons now. Has been such a consistent performer, especially in the UK.